ashes whenever I look at you. Striking matches light up my heart for you. Oh, the sparks on your skin set my lips on fire. Oh, love is not a sin. Burn me with desire. Feel it through your veins, feel the flames, enjoy the pain. Feel it through your brain, feel the flames that break the chain. Feel it in the rain, feel the flames, don't be afraid. Feel it through your sense, feel the flames burning your love, 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 love. Heat rises, come and dance in the shade, yeah. Falling ashes that cover your bare hands, yeah. Oh, the sparks on your skin set my lips on fire. Oh, love is not a sin. Burn me with desire. Feel it through your veins, feel the flames, enjoy the pain. Feel it through your brain, feel the flames that break the chain. Feel it in the rain, feel the flames, don't be afraid. Feel it through your sense, feel the flame burning your love, 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 love. You're like summer haze, you leave my soul amazed. So don't let us turn into dust, yeah. Turn into dust, yeah. Burning your love, 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 love.
Good evening, everybody. The Waterfall Empire acknowledges and thanks the indigenous peoples of this land for sharing their traditional territory with us. We are heartbroken to learn of the burial site of 215 children on the grounds of a former Kamloops Indian residential school. We can only imagine the grief and pain that the families and communities of the missing children are feeling. The Waterfall Empire stands with the First Nations community seeking the truth about missing children. May we honor their lives and their survivors and never forget their stories. Folks, welcome to this week's edition of Waterfall Live. We are raising money for three amazing agencies within the Waterfall Empire. Within the Tri-Cities, we are raising money for Aqua, the AIDS Committee of Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and area. Out of Hamilton, we are raising money for the AIDS Network, which services Hamilton, Brant, Halton, and surrounding areas. And out of Niagara, we are raising money for Positive Living Niagara. Folks, if you'd like to donate throughout the broadcast tonight, thank you, thank you, thank you. For all of Canadian residents, you can just e-transfer waterfallempire@gmail.com. No password is required. And to all of our family and friends south of the border, paypal.me/waterfallempire. And again, they're all going to three amazing agencies. We're almost $22,000. We're doing so good this year because of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. We want to wish everybody a very, very happy Pride. It's June. It's just wonderful to see all these virtual events going on and keeping safe, and that's just wonderful. So congratulations to everybody that's putting on these wonderful virtual events and keeping us safe while still keeping the spirit of Pride alive. So thank you all very, very much. But we have an amazing show for you tonight. It's all Pride based. We're gonna have a little history. We're gonna hear some personal journeys from fellow courtiers and some celebrity check-ins. So get ready for a fantastic show. But before we get started with the guest segment, do you know the history of the Pride flag? So we're gonna give you a little YouTube video and enjoy. Hit it, Matt.
You've seen it at pride parades, in gay clubs and bars, and on t-shirts and clothing. But do you know where the LGBT plus pride flag came from? The answer takes us back to the late 1970s and gay artist and drag queen Gilbert Baker. Baker was urged by Harvey Milk, the first openly gay elected official in California, to create a flag that represented the queer community. So Baker created a flag with 8 stripes, each with its own color and corresponding meaning. Hot pink for sex, red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sunlight, green for nature, turquoise for magic and art, indigo for serenity and harmony, and violet for spirit. Those were the elements that Baker believed were present in all people. This flag debuted on June 25, 1978 in the San Francisco Gay Freedom Day Parade. In 1979, pink was removed because of the scarcity of the fabric, and similar production issues led to dropping turquoise and replacing the indigo color with a more basic blue, leaving the more traditional 6 stripes. In 1994, the rainbow became a more established symbol for LGBT plus pride when Baker constructed a mile-long version of the flag for the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall riots. In 2017, Baker added a lavender stripe to the top of his original flag, symbolizing diversity and bringing the total to 9 stripes. Since Baker passed away in March of 2017, this was his last contribution to the Pride flag. Later that year, the city of Philadelphia added black and brown stripes to the classic 6, representing people of color in the LGBT+ community. In 2018, the city of Seattle incorporated pale blue, pink, and white into the Pride flag from the transgender flag created by Monica Helms to represent the trans community. That same year, Daniel Quasar combined and reshaped the Philadelphia and Seattle flags to focus on moving forward in his design called the Progress flag. This flag was designed to start conversations about race and trans issues within the broader queer community. While the rainbow flag was meant to represent the entire community, it turns out that the community itself is divided. In fact, the Philadelphia flag was only introduced after it was discovered that 11 gay bars in the area were regularly discriminating against African American employees and patrons of color. While all LGBT+ people are marginalized, queer people of color and trans people face disproportionate rates of poverty, violence, homelessness, and HIV and AIDS. These flags are not trying to add colors until everyone feels represented. Rather, they are attempting to highlight 2 important issues facing the queer community: racism and transphobia. There are also many other pride flags representing microgroups within the queer community. They include flags for people who identify as lesbian, gay men, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, pansexual, intersex, aromantic, asexual or ace, agender, non-binary, and even ally. If you have questions about any of these microgroups and their meanings, you can check out our other video. Before any of these pride flags, and even before the current rainbow flags, one of the most commonly used symbols of pride was the pink triangle flag, which represents homosexuality. The symbol itself dates back to the first concentration camps in Nazi Germany and was used to mark homosexuals. The homosexual community reclaimed and revived the pink triangle in the 1970s as a symbol of overcoming persecution. Obviously, there are far too many pride flags to cover in this video, but I hope this helped you develop a more basic understanding of where some of these symbols come from, and maybe you'll see some at your next pride parade. Whichever flag you fly, remember Gilbert Baker's words. Our job as gay people was to come out, to be visible, to live in the truth. As I say, to get out of the lie. A flag really fit that mission, because that's a way of proclaiming your visibility or saying, "This is who I am."
Fantastic. Thank you so much to our writers, Stephanie and Chantel, for finding that material to share with us, because it's so very, very important. Again, if you're just joining us, everybody, we have a very special Pride edition for you tonight. We're going to do a few check-ins and share some personal journeys. I'm going to share mine with you now. So in a galaxy far, far away, about 20-something years ago, I figured out who I was and who I was going to be and just who I was. Back then in high school, we didn't really have gay straight alliances or any of those groups. So I was able to do some research, and I found the University of Waterloo offered a group, a discussion group, a coming out discussion group. It was called GLOW, back then, Gays and Lesbians of Waterloo. And they used to meet the first Wednesday of every month. And so I went there and I met some friends, and then I really got so much out of it, and I want to thank them so much. It's great to see where GLOW has come from as well, because GLOW, which is part of the University of Waterloo, they now offer a school-funded drag club for performers, which is pretty awesome. So it's just wonderful to see that group evolve. It's wonderful. So from GLOW, I found a little place called Club Renaissance, where I was able to explore different aspects of who I was. Drag became a big part of me when we began our shows. We did again the first Wednesday. Wednesday was my lucky day for some reason, I don't know. So the first Wednesday of the month we started our performance, and back then I used this vehicle to raise money, and it's great because I still do today. So from there we evolved to a weekly show, and I was really able to just explore different aspects of who I was. I didn't know who I was, and now I kind of do. I'm pretty sure I know who I am now. So from there, and now I've joined the court, where I've really created a wonderful chosen family who've been with me for my ups and my downs. As the Pride flag evolves, I have questions, and it's really comforting for me. If I don't know something, I can go to the court. I can go to people, the membership, and ask, what does this mean? And I hope everybody feels the same, and you want to do that. If you have any questions, please reach out. And here I am, 36 years old. Go with it, Monroe. 36-year-old, and very, very proud. Very, very proud to also be your figurehead this year for the Pure Court of the Waterfall Empire. A little story about me. There's a little bit more, but we can talk about that privately. Again, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I see we have Nikki Chin in the house. Hi, Nikki. Yes, I see Ashley Aqua, and is amazing. Actually, one of our charities this year. Good to see you, Ashley. We got Brody. We got IPR Charles and Chanel in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think it's time for a check-in. So we're gonna go to Empress Monroe. I think she's ready. She's looking fabulous in the back room. We're not ready. Oh, Enzo is here. Enzo is here. Yes, we got Pride Niagara in the house. Everybody, please welcome Empress Claudia Silva. Enzo.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, honey?
I'm doing very well, thank you. You look gorgeous as always.
Thank you. Look very dapper yourself. So fantastic. You know, I just want to give you a shout out. And every year, I just love Pride. I love watching Pride Niagara Facebook group all the time. You've been busy. Yesterday was a very, very busy day for you. I think it's wonderful. You go around to all the cities, and can we talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, we were definitely on tour. Being virtual, it's a lot different. There's a lot more challenges, but then there's a lot more pros to it as well. We found that there's in our community in Niagara, as progressive as it is, and as progressive as Canada and Ontario is, there's still a lot of people that don't feel comfortable. There's still a lot of people that don't feel confident or secure in being at these events. So now that we have this virtual aspect of it, they're connecting with us even more. So they're asking for us to continue that aspect, which we are. But we were at all 13 municipalities. There's a Niagara Regional Headquarters, Council of Municipalities. We're at all 13. Oh, they're in there. That's at the city of Thorold. We were at all the different municipalities. Brock University participated. Niagara College participated both campuses. Niagara Regional Police Services participated. We have an amazing relationship with the Niagara Regional Police.
Excellent.
Which is a blessing. And it's been 12 years. They've been working so closely with us on inclusivity and diversity. We're actually a part of their policy developing and procedure planning. So we have firsthand on that. So it's great. But we had a huge team run around that day.
Awesome, awesome. Before we talk about your upcoming stuff, I know you've been busy, and I know yesterday the reviews, the raving. Let's talk about and Waterfall Empire Engine. They had a great time, and they won't stop talking about it. You had RuPaul trivia. How did that go?
It went really well. We have a longtime supporter, Phil Gourlay, has started a personal business with a Good Time Games with Adam and Phil. So he approached us. Well, we actually approached him because working with him is a blessing, and it's always been seamless. We wanted to do a Drag Race trivia because that's obviously. Oh, I hear an Empress in the background.
You do. Hashtag Team Waterfall Empire.
So we teamed up with them because we want to do something virtual. We want to drag. We want an interaction, and that's trivia. Macy Manolo is one of the best hosts around. Like, her mic works phenomenal. So it was perfect that we can work with her as well and just give something more to everybody. And it was our first time doing it, but I mean, it went fresh. It was fun.
Yeah, I heard great things. I hope you do it again. I like to participate. I'm not a big up on the RuPaul stuff, but I'll learn stuff.
I'll learn. You're learning. Like, we may start doing it bi-monthly. Like the reviews were really good, and everyone seemed to really have fun participating. So that's something that we're gonna move on and keep doing.
Awesome. So when is the date for Pride, and what do you have planned?
So Niagara Pride, the full week is the first week of June normally. So we start a little bit earlier when we have a couple extra events. So we started on May 29th, but it's June 1st to June 6th. So tomorrow is tomorrow is Pride Niagara's Unity Awards. I'm sorry, I'm a mile a minute today because we had so many projects on the go.
You're fine.
It's the Unity Awards tomorrow. So it's our 8th annual, and that's brought to you by TD Canada Trust. That highlights all the successes of LGBT individuals and organizations and allies, specifically in the Niagara region.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw the voting and the way you run it. It's great. And how many years have you been doing that now?
This is the 8th year.
Yeah, congratulations. Fantastic.
All the nominees are picked from the public, and then the public votes on the top 5, and they choose the recipients as well. And then Saturday we have our virtual version of Pride in the Park, which is Celebrate Your Pride.
Fantastic. And what's planned for that?
We have some virtual performances from different drag artists, kings, queens across the Niagara region. We have some stand-up comedians. We have some special guest appearances for some RuPaul Drag Race queens that sent us some, fun times. That sent us some performances. We have a very special performance. Every year at Pride in the Park, we have the Strong Women's Water drum group perform, which is an local indigenous female-operated drum group, and they've been a part of Pride in the Park since day one with us. So thankfully, they were able to take it virtual as well. So that's a big part of it. Just all our artists, all our supporters in Niagara, like, it's just a time where we can all come together, celebrate our pride, and highlight each other's talents and their time to volunteer to entertain each other.
Excellent. So tell the people at home, if they want to get an up-to-date minute on what's going on, where will we find the information?
You can find all the information on Pride Niagara's social handles. So it's either Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. It's all under the name Pride Niagara. And we also have a couple initiatives going on for Dine Niagara. It's kind of like a local version of your Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats. So they are doing a fundraiser for Pride Niagara. They're matching donations from people. They are taking donations from all the restaurants that are aligned with them within the Niagara region. You can donate online. You can donate through Pride Niagara. You can donate through Dine Niagara. We have so many things going on. We're really blessed in this area to have so many different organizations and businesses wanting to stand with us. And it's not just during the month of Pride. We have them all year.
Crazy, amazing, and I love the presence you have in the community. Congratulations for all the work you're doing. And so I'm not going to keep you too long because I know you got a busy schedule to keep with being Pride in Niagara. So I'm going to say I love you and thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you soon, girl.
I love you and I miss you, and congratulations to everybody. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, baby.
Bye-bye.
Mwah. Enzo, aka Empress Claudia Silva from Niagara, who does amazing work for the community and always has. Stephanie Bice loves them. Hi, Destiny B. Childs. Hi, Empress. Hi, Ashley. Christine Neal's here. Again, everybody, if you would like to donate to this year's charities for all of our American friends and family, paypal.me/waterfallempire, or for all of our Canadian friends and family, waterfallempire@gmail.com. No password is required. And thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to keep this show moving along. I'm so excited for this one. She's my sister. I love her so much. Please welcome to your virtual stage, Empress Monroe. You're muted, baby.
Yeah, Stephanie gets at me all the time about that. I apologize. Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good. I got to tell you, I couldn't stop. Enzo had me glued to the screen, and so much information about their pride. It sounds so exciting. I know what I'll be doing Saturday.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I love your hair tonight, girl.
Thank you, and I love yours too, girl.
And we didn't even plan it. We're like a couple of Q-tips.
Yes, well, and then of course I've got a little chapeau on.
Fantastic. So it's our Pride edition. It's June. I know you've celebrated 1 or 2 Prides.
1 or 2, yes. Yes. That's the wonderful thing about being in my generation. A heck of a lot more than 1 or 2 Prides. There are so many Prides I've celebrated, so many with you that I have celebrated in so many different cities around our region. Yeah, so many Prides, so many.
Can you pinpoint your favorite Pride moment over the years?
For me, that's an easy one. I can. And there has been a lot. But I've had the pleasure 4 times in Hamilton of hosting the Hamilton Pride. But Pride in the Park was here in Hamilton was my favorite Pride event. The people coordinating at the time were Daniel Anderson and Renee Weber. And also there was a whole group of volunteers and team, as there is in every Pride, that worked with them both, including the Waterfall Empire was there as sponsors, as well as we had tables, and our people were volunteering as well. It was just, I don't know. The wonderful thing about it, Miss Drew, is that I got for a full 8 hours to do what I love to do. Stay on stage, be on stage, nonstop on stage, and entertain. It was wonderful. I got to work with you. I got to work with the court. I got to work with Ladies on the Edge. And then I got to interact with the audience the whole day. It was just a wonderful experience and my favorite.
Awesome, awesome. I want to hear about your coming out story, but I want to do that after. Speaking of big moments, I know we've been lucky enough to hear your story about the trans flag racing. Could you want to share that story one more time for us?
It's always a bittersweet moment because of the timing and when it happened, but it was wonderful. I was really excited to do it. The actual event of the flag raising was exciting. I actually pushed, there's a video of it where I sort of pushed the mayor out of the way and say, oh, let me do this. You're not doing it right. And I got there and I let and you know, typical, I let the wind take the flag and it was just blowing away and I was basically posing and it was wonderful. Everyone was very nice. The speeches were very nice and wonderful. But just a week previous to that was a terrible incident in Florida that particular year. And it really brought the whole mood of the weekend down a bit. However, we won't talk about too much about that particular part. It was wonderful. I'm very proud to have been part of it. And I think the city of Hamilton did a good job that particular year.
So let's flash back to 1901.
Okay.
Oh, that might have been a typo or not.
Might not have been.
Let's talk about your coming out story back in the day.
Okay, so honestly, it's dark. I was 16 when I came out to my mother and father. So it was 1969 when I was 16. Please don't do the math. They're all sitting there with their calculators. I can see you. Anyhow, and I sat them down at the kitchen table, all very seriously, and told them, and I'm a 16-year-old young man, and I told them I wanted to get sex reassignment surgery, basically is what I said. I said it in the terminologies that I knew in those days, which are not cool terminologies anymore. 16 years old. and an athletic young boy. And I don't know, we both did an amazing job of just never talking about it again for a very, very long time. But I had the pleasure in my life to have both my parents call me by the name I had chosen, which is Jill, before they passed in this life. So that was sort of cool. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, a little bit. It's dark, but in one sense, it was dark because of the result of all that, how my parents reacted to all that, how my reactions with my family for the rest of my life after that. Everything changed. So that's what I meant by in the sense that it was dark.
I just want to say, and I know I speak on behalf of a lot of people, especially in the Hamilton community, you were groundbreaking, and you set a lot of the stages so we have a safe place to be. So thank you for that, girl.
I always thought it was so important that as a transgender person, we show ourselves in a positive light. And how better to do that than to go and get a job and show responsibility to everyone else that you can function in the body you have chosen to be in the mindset that you have chosen to be in, without putting any labels on anyone, that you can function in society no matter what. And that is the example that I know I set for a lot of people. I'm very proud of that.
Awesome. So a little more personal. You have, in these virtual times, you created a YouTube channel.
Yes, Jill Monroe. It's on YouTube, and I spell Monroe with no E on it, so it's Jill Monroe, Monro. And right now, I'm still working on the channel. There's a lot of stuff I want to do with it, but currently, it's several videos of me, sort of getting a little bit better at the virtual thing as we go along. I'm very, very proud of my Judy Garland video that I recently did. That particular song I'd never performed before as Judy, so I really thought that one came over well. And then I did one that, and if Destiny's still with us, I believe she performs the same song, because I think I've seen her do it, and it was just fantastic, is They Just Keep Moving the Line from Smash.
Which was also your step down number, I believe.
It was in the step down number.
Yes.
Yeah, my last step down. There were a lot of step downs.
There was.
There were a lot of rains.
So I feel really good that we're almost I almost see the light at the end of this COVID tunnel. I think we still got a ways to go, but I think things are getting better. What are you most looking forward to when this is done? Traveling to another coronation. That's what I had intended to do when I retired, was get out there and start going to all the different coronations I hadn't been to yet. So that's what I'm looking forward to most. And I understand, hopefully with any luck, if things keep going well, Toronto might be the first one. I know we're anticipating it, and I'd love to give them a plug. I just don't remember the dates. I think October 10th comes to mind. But Toronto!
Yes, Toronto's coronation with Art Nikki Chin. Oh. And of course, Oliver College.
Yeah, fantastic. To let people at home know, Monroe and I have been talking about maybe putting together some Ladies on the Edge stuff.
Yes.
So keep posted for that, or stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
It is October 3rd. Thank you, Becca Blake. Hi, Becca.
Hi, Becca.
You were Becca Blake's half Empress last year.
I was. And this is the lesson I learned from that. Tonight, I thought for just a moment, should I really do drag for this? And I thought, of course I should do drag. Do you remember that moment, that very first time Becca had asked me to do, a year ago, a virtual show with her in Toronto and her ICP at the time, who was doing all the technical stuff and hosting. And I woke up, I'd been napping, and I woke up a few minutes before the show, and I texted her and I said, girl, I just woke up. She goes, oh, don't worry. Put on a push-up bra and some lipstick. And I literally put on a push-up bra, put on some lipstick, and went on to the show. As soon as I saw myself on the camera, I answered some very quick questions that got out of there. Since then, I have not done a virtual show unprepared.
Fantastic. Sister, I love you. I can't wait till we can be together and maybe have a libation and catch up.
I got to see my boys, so it's got to be soon.
It's true. It's true.
Love you, Happy.
Happy Pride, honey. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
The amazing, the legendary Empress Monroe, Empress 13, 14, and 20. Yes, we got that right, I think. I'm looking at Stephanie's face, and I haven't got a thumbs down, so I'm good. Hi, Becca Blake. Thank you so much. Just seeing who's here. We got Victor here. Chantel, one of our writers, is here. Fantastic. If you're just joining us, this is our special little Pride Edition show with a lot of great things. Correctly using someone's pronouns is one of the most basic ways to show respect to their gender identity. Let's welcome Jake Edwards with a quick tutorial about pronouns.
Hi, I'm Jake Edwards and I am a non-binary YouTuber and musician. Some bright lights. Why are pronouns important? Well, pronouns are a part of the language you use to address a person, and they change depending on who you're talking to, and you should always address someone with respect. Deciding not to use the correct pronouns for a trans person is a huge sign of disrespect, and will most likely lead to that person feeling deeply uncomfortable and possibly even unsafe in your company. Personal pronouns are not, as people popularly believe, just he and she. The singular use of they/them pronouns have been around since the 14th century, and was used as a gender-neutral pronoun. The use of they/them has been gradually increasing since the 1970s as singular personal pronouns, as the need for gender-neutral and inclusive language has progressed. Today, it is widely understood that gender is a spectrum, just like sexuality. We have people who sit at very fixed binary points of male and female, but many people exist in the space around those points. This is called non-binary. Many non-binary people like to use they/them pronouns as they don't implicate a binary gender and make them feel uncomfortable. It's important to remember that you can never be sure of a person's pronouns just by looking at them. Gender is a spectrum, and the way we express and present our gender to the outside world is just as vast as that spectrum. Asking a person what their pronouns are is not rude. It can be a little bit intimidating at first, but once you get into the habit, you can be confident that you won't be incorrectly assuming a person's pronouns based on how they present. This is a positive step forward, as it normalizes the behavior of not making assumptions and not linking a person's clothing to how they identify. Really good. Awesome. Many people argue that they/them pronouns are plural and cannot be used as a person's singular pronouns because it's confusing. Much of the English language is confusing, and it's not uncommon to have words that have multiple meanings. Some people just don't realize how often they use they/them in a singular context already. For example, Jamie is bringing a friend over, but I don't know their name. It's used to refer to a person whose gendered pronoun has not yet been identified. So why not use they/them for one person? If someone you meet has pronouns that are they/them, you should respect that and use them, because the impact of misgendering them can take a huge toll on their mental health, and it's extremely disrespectful. Since the 14th century, pronouns outside of he, she, and they have been brought into our language. These are pronouns like a, li, si, and thon. Although most of these aren't in use today, they are a part of what we call neopronouns. It can be hard to learn to conjugate these pronouns, but if you meet a person who uses them, it doesn't hurt to give it your best shot and take direction from them, or even look it up for yourself. It takes a small amount of effort on your behalf, but it will most likely mean the world to a person who uses neopronouns. I feel like my eye is twitching. The landscape of our language is always changing and adapting to suit our needs, just as more labels for sexuality have come around over the years. Gender identities have gone through the same thing. Non-binary is an umbrella term that encompasses many labels. Gender fluid is someone who considers their gender to be fluid rather than fixed on one point. Bigender is someone who identifies as two genders, which could be male, female, or a number of other things. Agender is someone who doesn't have a gender at all, and so on. These identities are vast and unique to each person, and no one really feels their gender in the same way. For many non-binary people, using he or she can make them uncomfortable, but lots of people use multiple pronouns. I personally identify as non-binary, and my pronouns are he or they, and that's because I feel a connection to masculinity, but I often feel very fluid and unconstrained by masculine ideas. The term preferred pronouns only comes into play when a person uses multiple pronouns but has a preference. This preference can change day to day as their gender fluctuates. My preferred pronouns are they, but only because they're not the only pronouns that honor me. A trans person does not have preferred pronouns if they only take one set of pronouns. Saying that someone with one set of pronouns has preferred pronouns implies that they have multiple, and in doing so you risk thinking it's okay to misgender them. So using the correct pronouns is not optional. It's okay to ask, respect how labels and language are evolving, and always be open to learning new things. We all have to start somewhere.
So very, very important. Thank you so much, Jake Edwards, for that. Folks at home, please welcome our next check-in, our IT specialist, Empress Katana.
Hi,
girl.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I got my second vaccination today.
Yay! Woo, woo. Thank you so much. You're back there pressing the buttons for us. How's that going, Tony? How's the show going from your perspective?
Very good. Very good. So glad to have Pride Niagara and Monroe here. So just rolling right along. Very well.
Yeah, it's been great. Also, we'll get to that later. There's so many amazing things going on within our realm. But I want to talk about you for a little bit. How long have you been out of the closet?
Oh, since I was 18, and I'm 40 now, so more than half my life.
I'm trying to do some math there. I won't.
I'm actually 40.
What is your favorite Pride moment?
It would have to be my very first Pride, 1999. My young little self there on the left. I wish I had that waistline still. I went to Toronto's Pride, and then I ended up meeting that handsome fellow on the other side and dating for a while. But I was so fun because I got to, shop and see so many people that I haven't seen in so many years that came out of the closet like later in life and whatnot. So it was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And I want to give a shout out too, because you work for Quest, and I saw a posting. So Quest was getting all prided up.
Yeah, because we can't really do too much. Normally we would be at Pride in the Park and all that stuff. And, it's been a year of us kind of having to work in office and off site. So we decided to have all the staff paint in the windows different messages so that people outside can see, the positive messages as they're driving by, walking by, or even visiting the clinic.
Awesome. Fantastic. So let's hear about your coming out story.
Oh, it's not necessarily a completely happy one, I'll be honest with you. When I was younger, just in the end of my high school years, I did find a small youth group of people, which some of them are around and some of them are still amazing friends of mine. I ended up dating a younger gentleman, and he committed suicide. And that put me in a very dark place. So I was, acting weirder than I already was. And my parents kind of noticed it. Obviously, they didn't know I was dating anybody or anything. It was very hush-hush. And one day my dad was just like, sit down, like something clearly wrong. And we were like, nope, nothing's wrong, everything's fine. And they were like, no, like, tell us. You can tell us anything. Like, we're your parents, we love you. And I told them, like, they understood who the person was, but they thought it was more of a friend. And when I was like, he was more than a friend, he was my boyfriend. And then that kind of changed the whole thing. And my parents, I think, wished more that they were there for me when he passed, because I don't think they realized what he had actually meant to me. It was more than just, just a friend. So I did have a great support network at the time, and, that also talked to my parents and like people from my youth group. Deidre, I give her tons of credit because she was able to kind of talk to my mom and, help guide her in the right directions if she needed to talk to anyone, if she had any questions about anything. So, and my parents have been very supportive ever since. They were both at my wedding to Charles, and love him just as much like he's another son. So it's nothing weird to them at all. So awesome. I got blessed with some great parents.
Awesome. And how long have you and Charles been married?
It'll be 9 years now. What? Yeah, it's 9 years now.
And I just caused your first domestic, I'm sure.
No, just because I'm always ready to say like we're going on 10 years, because it'll almost be 10 years soon.
Awesome. Girl, thank you so much. That's why I won't keep you too long because I know you have to get back to work. We just wanted to hear your story.
Anytime.
Well, happy Pride, honey, and we will talk to you soon. Love ya.
Love you. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Empress Katana, Matt, our IT specialist. I'm just going to know, unfortunately, Hamilton Pride will not be able to. I don't think they're going to be able to connect tonight. I just want to give them a shout out. They've been doing some wonderful things. Wonderful things going that are going to be presented in a few weeks. So stay tuned for that. I've got a kind of a sneak peek on what they're going to be doing, and they're really putting out some really wonderful things. So congratulations to Kyle, Hamilton Pride, Casbah, all the wonderful stuff they're going to be putting out. Fantastic. So Pride Month is about celebrating all of the S2 LGBTQIA plus community. The 2S represents our two-spirited siblings. We found this video for us to help learn about our two-spirited community. Please enjoy.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, gender nonconforming, and two-spirit. You probably haven't heard the last one, right? Well, two-spirit is a Native American term used to describe people who are believed to be blessed with both male and female spirits. And while the word itself is relatively new, two-spirit people have actually been around for centuries. So let us explain. For the hundreds of tribes who lived in what is now known as the United States, two-spirit people were individuals who took on both traditional female and male roles. For example, a two-spirit man might be both a weaver and a hunter, or a two-spirit woman might excel at crafting and combat. The tribe celebrated them not because of their gender identity, but for their range of skills. They were respected as healers, seers, and medicine people. They were considered lucky in finding love, and they could help others by matchmaking and creating love potions. Two-spirit people were often referred to in a third or fourth gender, but each tribe had their own interpretation and word for it. And while being two-spirit was more about the natural fluidity of gender roles than about sexual orientation, they did tend to have same-sex relationships. Two-spirit people were honored within their communities. They were celebrated, embraced, normalized. But ignorant European settlers not only treated them poorly, but they were also perplexed by their same-sex relationships. And not surprisingly, over time, American missionaries and government agents did all they could to stamp out these cultural practices among natives. They forced relocation and forced mandatory boarding schools to culturally assimilate into white society and required Christian conversion. So as you can imagine, two-spirit traditions began to fall by the wayside. Luckily, a small number of people were able to preserve them. Native American activists in the 1960s unearthed this tradition. And slowly, knowledge about indigenous gender nonconforming people began to spread. So in the late 1980s, Native American activists began referring to queer members of their community with a new term, two-spirit. Because it was in English, the term united hundreds of Native tribes and communities under a language and culture they all knew and shared. And like other modern terms like LGBTQ, the term two-spirit emphasizes spiritual and historical heritage as opposed to the sexual and biological aspects of gender identity. Although two-spirit is in English, its origins are rooted in indigenous language. The term became official at the 1990 Intertribal Native American Conference in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Today, while two-spirit people continue to deal with the effects of colonizers' attempts to wipe out Native culture, the term is being used by the indigenous queer community to help them claim not just their gender identity, but their ethnic and spiritual heritage too. Every time you hear about the need to break away from the binary, every time you hear the need to fight for gender fluidity, do remember that it's a term that is not a new fight. It's actually a return to our roots.
Thank you so much. Some wonderful information there. Just great. We're ready for another check-in. I think she's ready and she's looking a little nervous. No, she's great. She's always on. Please welcome my ride or die, Emperor Stephanie Bice.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You look wonderful tonight. You combed your hair and everything.
I did. It's for you.
For everybody at home, so Stephanie is our executive producer, with one of the writers, and so she puts together all the behind-the-scenes stuff with the questions, contacting people. Then we had an idea. Let's do a Pride night, and this has been a wonderful show, Stephanie. So thank you. So let's talk about your favorite Pride moment.
World Pride 2014, hands down. And it might not have even been the Pride itself. It might have just been the road trip to get us there. And for probably 25 members from the Waterfall Empire, we went on a little field trip together. We hopped on a bus or GO train. I guess it was the GO train. There was a Blue Jays game happening the same day, so we made all the Blue Jays fans go upstairs, and we took over the main floor of the part of the train we were on. We then hopped on a subway together. We got off at the wrong stop. Not my fault. We walked for a couple of miles. It felt like 20 miles to me, of course, until we got to the Pride float. It was just the trip to get there. With Robin, I spent the day with Robin. Like, it was just great to be able to go with everyone, and it was awesome. Just the memories of getting there and sharing that day with everyone was great.
It was an adventure. It was great. You're right.
It was an adventure. Of course, by the time it was done, we could not wait for it to be done, and everybody just wanted to go home. The trip home was not the best. We were all cranky. We should have ended the day probably around noon hour.
Yeah, I think because the Pride was alphabetical order, so rather than being like court, it was the T, so it was near the end of the parade. That was a long parade. It was World Pride.
It was a very long parade, but it was a great memory, great time.
It was. So let's talk about your coming out story.
Well, there were actually a lot of people there for my coming out story. It's quite interesting. I was part of the London court, living in London at the time. My best friend at the time was a gay man, and he was actually living in my parents' basement. And my parents would come to the gay bar with us, and they'd watch drag shows, and they actually attended a couple of court events or whatever. I remember going out for brunch one morning with the entire family, with Nan and Grandpa, cousin, Mother's Day, I think it was. And my grandmother just outright asked me, was I gay? And I, of course, just like, no, of course not. I was so not prepared to take that step, to just make that statement. A couple of months went by, whatever. My parents came out to, I believe it was an investiture for the London court, and I received a title. And I don't remember what the title was, but it basically, it outed the fact that I was a lesbian. And I smoked at the time, but I did smoke at the time. And I remember actually being at the stage with a cigarette in hand, and I flicked it into the MC's face and just walked out of the bar. And everyone, I wasn't part of the Hamilton court, but I traveled to Hamilton so much then. So pretty much everyone from Hamilton exited the bar as well. And it was outside of Sins or 52nd Street. Some people might know it as, or Jones. All of a sudden, there's like 30 people outside, like just surrounding me, like, is that what just happened? And that is what just happened. And I didn't know how to deal. And then all of a sudden, the crowd of people just parted, and out trots my mother. And she just walks up to me, and you think we didn't know? And then she just walks away. And like, that's great. My parents are awesome. Like, everybody knows my parents. They are so supportive, but I wasn't ready to make that statement at that time. It is what it is now. I'm thankful that, it happened. It all ended well. I left the bar that night with my parents. We went home. Nothing, it was the same thing next day, right? My parents are great, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be, unfortunately, but it all ended well, which is what's important.
Awesome. Fantastic. And look at you now.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for popping on for a few minutes and sharing that story. Just wonderful. I love you. Thanks for all the hard work you're doing behind the scenes stuff. And I know we have some big announcements coming up soon. So everybody at home, keep your eyes peeled on the Facebook group.
Yes.
I'll let you get back to work because I know you're back there helping Matt with the behind the scenes stuff. And we'll talk to you soon, baby.
Bye.
Empress Stephanie Bice, one of our writers for Waterfall Live, former multiple emperor monarch for the Waterfall Empire. We love her so much, and for all the amazing work she does. Thank you. We got a few more things to do before the end of the show. What a great show this is. I'm having so much fun. Thank you to everybody so far that's popped on to share your stories. If you want to share your stories, throw them in the comments. We would love to hear them and highlight them. So Pride started as a riot, and the queer community has had to continue that fight. Marriage equality was a battle, but we won. Learn a bit of history of marriage equality in this next video. Enjoy.
Marriage Act is less clear than it once was, and there's a need for us to seek that clarification from the courts. Fantastic. What a great video. Love that. And I loved all the videos today. I hope you did too. I want to thank Hamilton Pride for they couldn't get connect the broadcast, but they've been making stuff going on. I want to thank Enzo and Monroe and Stephanie and Katana. I also want to give a shout out to Tri-Cities. Tri-Pride, there's not much going on this year, but I do want to give a special shout out to the museum in Kitchener, who's hosting a variety show on June 17th. I'll be emceeing that with Drag Race's Kine Santos, so check that out. Yeah, so next Thursday, or no, not next Thursday, June 10th, Waterfall Live will be celebrating its 1-year anniversary. We have an amazing show planned for you, so hope you can come celebrate with us June 10th, same time, 7 o'clock, here on the Waterfall Facebook group. We have our mini putt coming up June 19th, hosted by Empress Monroe. Usually she does her bowling, but because of restrictions, we can't be indoors. So we're going to go outside and do mini putt. It's going to be a wonderful day, 2 p.m. All the deets are on the Waterfall Facebook group. We have our Diva Awards video show that is happening June 19th. I know they have some amazing submissions. It's going to be a wonderful thing. I think voting is open. Check out the Facebook group. All that stuff will be out for you. And we are still doing our Avon fundraiser. All commissions from any sales from these Avon products are going to go to this year's charities. Thank you so much, Bijou Parks, for all the hard work you're doing on that. Spin to win. We just got a notification earlier today. The Sephora card we have sold out. So we're going to try and plan a spin to win very, very soon. So again, keep your eyes peeled. It's going to be wonderful. I think there's a few we're going to spin for. So I'm looking forward to that. Each and every Friday, we do have our Friday check-ins, 7 o'clock. Pop in and let us know how you're doing. We're not quite out of this yet, folks. So let us know that you're safe, and we have a little social time. It's actually a wonderful time each and every Friday, 7 o'clock. And I also would like to put up our mental health poster because it's so important to have these numbers handy just in case you might need this, or you know somebody that might. I'm gonna pop around there. Pop that, write down that number just in case. You never know. And of course, folks, every child matters. Folks, closing off the show tonight, thank you so much to all of our guests, to our writer, Stephanie Chantel, to our IT person, Empress Katana, for all your hard work, for putting these together. Well, hey, girl.
I just freaked out a little bit. I was like, who's in my house? Okay. That was a little bit of a mind thing. Crazy. He's getting really good with these graphics. We thank him so much. Hi, Connie Concepcion. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's going to be a tough act to follow. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, if you'd like to donate, paypal.me/waterfallempire or waterfallempire@gmail.com. No password is required. I think I'm going to perform.
Shorts as sweet as May. She sang in eights and two barrio chords. We fell in love, but not in chords. Mis canciones son de la revolución. Mi corazón me duele por mi generación. If you love me, we can marry on the West Coast. On a Wednesday en el verano en agosto. I wanna dance and love and dance again. I wanna dance and love and dance again. Ah, America, Americana. Ah, America, Americana. I will fight for how I fought for, how I love you. I have cried for, I will die for, how I care. In the mountains, las campanas están sonando. Todos los chicos y los chicos se están besando. I wanna dance and love and dance again. I wanna dance and love and dance again. Ah, America, Americana. Ah, America, Americana. If this would be a perfect world, we'd be together then. Only got just one life this summer. Who cares what they're gonna say? I wanna dance and love and dance again. I wanna dance and love and dance again. Ah, America, Americana. I wanna dance. America, Americana. I wanna dance. I wanna dance. America, Americana. I wanna dance.
Thank you, everybody, so very much for an amazing. Thank you very much for an amazing show. Have a great night and hashtag Team Waterfall Empire. Good night, folks. Mwah.